Okay, so we are live now on YouTube as well as those that are here in Zoom. I want to introduce myself for those that don't know me. I'm Deborah Pascali-Bonaro, and I am a DONA doula trainer, a Lamaze childbirth educator, and director of the documentary Orgasmic Birth. And today is so special to me in so many ways. We are beginning a full week of celebration and webinars for what I say my newest baby, and it was my longest birth. And that's because it is my third book. We have our cover. It's The Ultimate Guide to Sex After Baby. Secrets to Love and Intimacy will release on April 9th. So stay tuned to the end of this. We'll be giving you a link where if you buy the book on the 9th, we'll give you all kinds of bonuses. But what's so special to begin the week is that I get to have an amazing expert who I can say is a special friend and a colleague who has really changed my life and how I look at parenting and look at our littlest beings. So I want to tell you a little bit about Carrie so you can understand how amazing she is. So she is an internationally recognized coach, author, speaker, and educator. Her work offers a new perspective, truly new, on human development, parenting, and family life. She guides, supports, and inspires her clients to live with wide open and courageous hearts so they can approach family life with skill and spaciousness. Carrie received her doctorate in clinical psychology with an emphasis on prenatal and perinatal psychology, which if you don't know about this field, Carrie's going to tell you a bit more about it because it really rocked my world when I learned all about this. She's masterful at synthesizing and articulating the science, the psychology, and spirituality of humanhood. Dr. Contey is also the author of CALMS. This is what I require everybody in my entire world to read. It's a guide to soothing your baby that offers parents and professionals a new view of babyhood and provides a simple and essential toolkit called CALMS. She's also even recently on the NBC Today show, which I was like, wow, rocking my world, NPR, CBS, in numerous publications. And Carrie, just such an honor to call you a friend and to welcome you today from Colorado here to kick off our series, but to share your wisdom now that's needed now more than ever to help all of those that have joined us that are pregnant and ready for birth and are parenting to find that calm. So welcome.
Oh, what an honor. It's so good to be with you, Deborah.
So tell us a little bit more first, for those that don't know the field of pre and perinatal psychology, what does that mean?
So it's basically a field of development, of human development that backs it up really to conception, that we're looking at what goes on in the womb, prenatal, and then perinatal is what happens around birth, peri. And it's really this new perspective, this new paradigm that is showing us that, you don't get a baby, you get a person, that we come in who we are, that we're conscious. And I like to call them the big, and all people, big beings in little bodies, that, you don't just have this physical child when they're born, you've got somebody who is coming in with their own adventure, really. And that they don't, they come in this small package and it's very immature. They can't do all the things that we do for several years, but the potential is there. And the minute they're, even in the womb, but afterwards, they're just growing the brain and the neurons are connecting and their bodies are growing. And it's a remarkable process. It's a miraculous process, in my opinion, right? I mean, what's more miraculous than a human growing inside another human and then emerging out and in 1 year starting to make, doing sign language and starting to feed themselves. And in 2 years, they're out running around. And in 3 years, they're telling you crazy stories and jokes. Like, human development is so phenomenal, and it isn't driven by what we think. It's driven by something much more divine, really, than that. So I love reminding people that we all come in who we are, and really it's the unfolding that allows for the recognition of that beingness, that isness.
Yeah, so beautifully, said, and that this whole field has now emerged, right? That's connecting all these pieces. And isn't it funny, like so many things happen and you say, well, why didn't we do that before? Like,
right. I know. It's remarkable. It's like I get to turn on light switch in people's brains, because the minute you hear this, you can't not know it any longer. But we've lived, you've been in the field for a really long time, and it was only the 80s where we started even considering that babies might even feel pain. Like, we didn't think this, and it was systemic. It was a paradigm of, well, babies are just blank slates. They're not really people, and we don't have to pay too much attention to them until they can do the things we do. And yet, that's, as anybody who's spent any time around a newborn human, you realize, oh, well, that's totally who they are. And now we just have to help create the environment and really mainly take care of ourselves, so that we can be present with their unfolding and be able to have a rich relationship with this person, both in the early years, but down the road as well.
Yes, so important. And I remember early on, you came to one of our doula workshops. This was years ago. And you really shared a lot about prenatal newborn brain and nervous system development. And you explained it in like new and insightful ways for me. Can you share that? And I know we have some pregnant parents with us today, so they'll really appreciate that.
Yeah, I love talking about the brain. This is beautiful. So like I said, we've got the big being, which is the consciousness, which is the essence, the isness of the person, but they come in this little body, and in the womb that body is developing. And what I think is fascinating is 40% of the genes, all of that information is all about getting the brain wired up. So in the womb, in the first trimester, there's a lot of physical development, all the folds and everything's taking place. Then at about 3 months, this neural system starts to work into the picture. And there's trillions of neurons, these like tree branch looking things that are going to connect ultimately based on the experiences that they're getting stimulated by. So in the womb, for the last about 3 months, there's about 15 to 20% of the brain wiring taking place. But here's the thing. They're not wiring their human brain or even their mammalian brain. They're wiring back here in the brainstem, because they arrive out of the womb really with the need to be able to know safe or not safe. They're not coming out pre-wired for language. They're not coming out even pre-wired for connection. Those things have to be built upon this primal sense of safety. And so when a tiny human emerges, and you know this better than most, we're not fully cooked. We're not pre-wired. We're waiting for the environment that we're going to live in, and the languages, not just the verbal language, but that's the easiest one to see, that the language or languages that you're speaking to this little human, they're going to wire in. They're creating neurology for that. But here's the cool part. That goes for all the different, what I call languages, which is creativity and sports and empathy and, emotional languages, social languages. So it's not about what you're pouring in. It's really about what you're speaking, both physically, emotionally, and even energetically, that's allowing this creature, this human, to wire the things that they're going to need in the environment that they're going to need to thrive in. I love that, right? Isn't that so interesting?
It's so interesting. And so knowing that, what can we do, especially those that are welcoming babies into the world today and in these uncertain times, right? Our own sense of safety may be challenged. So what can we do?
Well, I have a bunch of different, we'll get to the CALMS because that's probably the biggest thing.
Yes.
But I really subscribe to this idea of like learning how to turn in. And there's so much pulling us out right now. And we'll get to CALMS, but I want to talk about this first, that, you know, basically, and I use a visual sometimes of, you know, basically that we're in these different relationships. And there's the first relationship that I like to think of as what I call you and you. And that's almost like the bullseye in the center of the target. And in here is how you're relating to yourself and how vital that is, not just at any time of life, that you're able to really reel it in and come back to self and find some alignment and find some ways of tending the heart. And then recognizing that there's, you know, your people in the second circle out. So there's you and you, then there's you and your closest, your partner, your kids, whoever is in your, you know, right now, who's basically in your home. And then the people that you're regularly checking in with, they need energy from you. They're giving you some energy, but they need a lot of energy from you. Then you go a little further out and you've got your bigger community and you've got, you know, people you work with and your extended family, and they're going to both give and receive energy. But you have to be aware that the further out you get, because once you get to that world, there's a lot more pulling your energy out than inviting you in. So what I tell people is try to give this circle, especially if you're welcoming a new baby or you have children at home, it's hard because your energy is out and you're giving, but you're going to have more efficiency and effectiveness of regulating yourself and staying present if you give just a little bit of turning into yourself regularly, which is one of the reasons I love your book, because as much as it's talking about sexuality and pleasure, it really is talking about this upper level of knowing yourself and awareness and tuned inness and enjoyment. And what I think, and I know you subscribe to this, is that the more we're aligned, the more we're tuned into ourselves, the more we're connected to that bigger beingness of ourselves. And from that place, we're really accessing just a deeper knowing and a deeper wisdom. And it's way easier to meet the moments and not get as pulled out into the fear or the regret or whatever else might be kind of trying to grab our energy.
Yeah, so well said. And I love your visual too, because that when you first said that years ago, and it obviously is more important today because of our energy pulls than ever, to see those circles, right? Yeah. And realize, and you know, what are our turn-in skills? What do we do to kind of nurture ourselves and feed our energy? And that's where your CALMS, right?
Well, that's right. That's where it comes in. So CALMS, which I love, and I should have had the book with me. I don't have a copy with me right now, but it's C, which stands for check in with yourself. Number one, it's not attend to the baby, it's check in with yourself. A means allow a breath, but really that's those practices that bring you back to you and bring your nervous system down and help you basically re-regulate yourself. Then L is listen. So, you know, just be present. And L and M, which is mirror, go together. And that means basically listening to the person in front of you. And that could even be yourself. But if you're with a baby person, it's listening to them and mirroring back. Oh, I hear you're upset. Oh, I see that you're crying. Oh, your body's moving. And then CALMS is soothe. So the reason I talk about this and the way this book even got created was back in the 00s. Harvey Karp was very popular. His book, Happiest Baby on the Block. And he wrote the book, he made some videos. And in the videos, he had this circle of parents who were with their little newborns. And one, you know, the babies, he was talking about this process of shushing and soothing and all the things that he does. And I love it. But there were a couple things missing from my perspective of pre and perinatal psychology. One was when he was doing the doings to the baby. One, he as a person who doesn't have a baby in his house and is around a lot of baby people, was very calm and present in himself. He wasn't anxiously going, oh, no, you're okay. This is fine. You're good. He was just calm. And two, he wasn't really attending to the person in there that was having the hard time. He was kind of doing to the baby. So I love that technique, but it's the last step of CALMS, because what I wanted to do was back it all up. And I did this with my friend Debbie Takakawa. We backed it up and we gave people just a couple simple steps for getting present with self to be present with other. Because when a little baby person is upset, they're not hearing our words as much as they're hearing our vibration, our energy, our emotion. So when we're going, you're fine, you're okay, it's okay, you can calm down, they're not hearing those words, calm down. They're hearing, I'm anxious, you need to be as well. Because a little baby person depends on their other to know whether they're safe or not safe. And so the energy that's being communicated is going to be felt. There's mirror neurons and there's nervous system connections that people are resonating with. So by checking in with self, you know, that comes straight out of Dan Siegel's work. You got to name it to tame it. That a lot of times we've been led to believe that, you know, if we just ignore what we're feeling, it'll go away, but that's not how it works. That we have to stop and actually say, wow, my baby's crying. Woo, that sent my alarm off. I'm having a hard time right now. That was 1 second. You're not over there in a bath going, I can't handle this. You're literally saying, baby needs me, but I need to get steady. So oh, wow, my shoulders were tight. Woo, let's lighten up. You know, checking in with your emotions, checking in with your body. And then taking a breath, allow a breath. It might be stepping outside for 1 second. It might be looking outside. It might be just looking around and going refrigerator, light, door, chair, and doing a little moment of getting back with you before, you know, in the midst of attending to this other person who might be hungry, might be tired, might just be overdone based on what's being felt in the system, because it's a lot coming at a little tiny human who doesn't have enough experience yet to filter out all of the stimulation coming at them. So they can get dysregulated, which means they fall into that fight or flight brain. And the only thing they have is to start crying and letting you know, I need help. And the way we show up, it's okay even if you're going, oh, you're upset, let me help you. And then you go, oh wait, where am I? So you can do them together. You don't have to do it step by step, but the point of it all is don't lose yourself while helping the other. That's maybe the message of this moment, right? Yes. Whether it's a baby person or your parents or the world, it's like, make sure, as they say, you are literally putting the oxygen mask on so that your system is resourced, so that when you're helping somebody, there's energy to give.
Yeah, so important. And the way you use the acronym so well of CALMS, right? Because I think we all do better when we have a step process. Yeah. And you gave us such easy steps that we can apply to our children. But I agree with you, like today, I can apply that to anyone that I'm interacting with. In how do I check in? How do I allow that breath? Yeah. And then really listen, mirror, and soothe whoever it is. Yeah. And, you know, when you taught me that, I think I shared with you when I was a new mom, you know, many years ago now, because my son is also grown with his own children. I had a moment where I was really frantic and he was crying a lot, right? And so I was doing just what you said, like, you're okay, you're okay, you're okay. Yeah. But like, I didn't even believe I was okay. So like, how was I telling him he was okay? And I remember I happened to have the private number of my pediatrician. And I literally woke my pediatrician up at 2 a.m. And I was convinced, because my baby had been crying now for hours, that like, maybe like, there was something wrong with his whole digestion system. And I wanted to come to the ER. I was like, we have to come in right now. And I'll never forget, I wish it had been you, because this wasn't the best advice, but it gave me the message. He said, do you have any alcohol in the house? And my first thought was he wanted me to give my baby alcohol, which completely horrified me. But he said, I'd like you to take a drink. And I said, I don't really drink. And he said, I don't care. You need to calm down.
Wow.
And it was like that moment. And so I did. I took half a glass of wine, which I haven't had in my entire pregnancy. So half a glass did it for me. And as that brought me down, guess what happened to my baby? He calmed down and went to sleep. And that was like my first moment of knowing that he was so mirroring and reflecting me. Yeah. So your method helps save us all from using alcohol.
Well, and here's the thing. This is probably one of the most important, if not the most important thing that a parent can give their child, can teach their child. So in my worldview, CALMS is valuable in the short term for getting you regulated so that then you can help the person who's having a tough time to get back to balance and to get re-regulated. But in the long term, a parent who checks in, allows a breath, listens, mirrors, and then offers the soothing, you're basically speaking the language of good, healthy regulation. And what that's doing is it's giving your growing people coping tools that then they're going to be able to use throughout their life and with their children. So to me, there's the short term, like it works because you're calming yourself down just like you did. But it's in the long term, to me, it's changing the emotional well-being of humanhood, like in the long term and in the big picture. That this message of, recognizing that your reality really does start with you, that the way you're feeling, and especially as a parent, and especially as a mom, if the baby is a young one, and even a little older, or maybe always, you're setting the tone, that your emotions are rippling through and communicating to the environment that you're in and the people that are in that environment. Are we cool? Or are we not cool? And it's easy to think, well, if I can just calm everybody down and make sure all their needs are met, then I'll be able to relax and calm myself down. But that doesn't ever work, right?
Right.
And so true. Yeah, so this, this is a mind shift. This is a paradigm shift. This is saying it's not selfish to be regulated. It's actually important for your system, both your personal and your collective system of humans. So yeah, I'll stop there and let you ask questions or even open it up. But I mean, there's so much more to say.
And I would say if anyone has a question, either drop it into the chat if you want to right now so we can address it, or we'd be happy, let us know you have a question in the chat so we can open one mic at a time to ask with us for those that are here. Those that are on YouTube, put comments into the comments. I'm sorry we won't see them live, but we'll answer you later. I do want to just acknowledge, though, Carrie, kind of what you were saying so well is that we all are then teaching our children this. And sadly, right, so many, at least speaking for myself, this wasn't a tool that I was given growing up. And so it's generational shifting as we can educate our children in having better coping mechanisms. And then they're going to do it. And what a different world.
Right. That we all are in agreement at some point that it's important for me to be resourced so I can then give. Like when I'm resourced, it just comes out and over. But if I'm trying to give from an under-resourced place, I might still be able to do it, but it might come out with resentment, or it might come out with anger, or it might come out with a little frustration. And really, that doesn't mean you're a horrible person. That means you're just under-resourced. Like you could say, hey, love, I need your help in this human brain state when your resources are up. You could say, hey, love, I really need your help, which is when you're in that middle brain and you're not really fully locked down, but you're not freaking out yet. Or when you're that low and you've let the resources go completely dry, and you're just starting to get into a panic, a fight or flight. Hey, love, I really need your help. And all of a sudden you're in a state, and then everybody else around you's feeling that. So I agree that it's important to name that I'm asking people to do something that they may not have learned the language of. It's like asking somebody, well, you should just speak French now because French is the language we use. It's like, but I didn't learn French, I learned English. So I want to invite people to say, wow, I'm having a new baby, or I have a child that is growing. I'm going to learn this with them. So 1 out of 30 times, if you are like, oh, I got to try CALMS, or 1 out of 50 times, and you maybe are, you're okay, it's okay. Oh, we need to calm down. Oh, right. Where am I? Oh, okay. Take a breath. Okay. All right. What's really going on for you, person, versus I've got to make the baby okay. You know, that's the shift. Is we're having a hard time. You're upset. I'm feeling lots of feelings. I'm the one that has the skills of a brain that's wired enough at this point to learn a new task. And then you're giving that as their primary language. That's as good as it gets. I mean, so there's nothing about this that's like, well, you should know how to do this already. This is a lifetime process for many of the people that I teach. However, when it clicks on and they really do embrace this idea that, you know, not only do I matter, but I'm setting the tone. So, you know, what I call them are my essentials. And this is what I talked about on the Today Show. What are the 3 things that are non-negotiable for my well-being, that are things that could take 1 second or 10 hours? So for me, my essentials are outside, walking in nature. So again, if I don't have an hour to go for a walk, stepping outside and breathing fresh air before I do whatever I have to do in the day, that's going to kick me into a higher brain state. That's going to fill the tank a little bit. Meditation. So whether I have 15 minutes and I can sit, or I have 2 minutes before I'm hopping on a call and I just need to collect myself, still setting a timer and just going, all right, I am here now. I am here now. Or I love when Ram Dass passed, I started listening to a lot of his stuff, and loving awareness. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. Oh, that one really hits it. And then my third one is appreciations. I am fanatical. I've had a multi-year practice of almost every day writing out on my computer 100 appreciations. I have like 70,000 in various documents. And I don't do it as, okay, I've got to think of 100 new things. I do it as a living as an active meditation of basically putting myself in a state of what's working, what's good, what can I see right now? What am I feeling that I want to feel more of? And that seems to keep my system humming. And I can tell that when I'm not doing those things, things drop off and I'm not as aware and connected and human as I want to be. And so those are mine. What I encourage you all to do, and I'm going to ask you, Deborah, what are yours? Like, what are the essentials? Like, what are the things that feel like no matter what, I'm going to get a little juice from doing those things?
And I love that. And so please, people, start sharing them in the chat
what are yours?
so we can see them. But I'll share mine. And you've been to my home, so you know that out back, my husband built me several years ago for a birthday present. I love labyrinths. And whenever I would be traveling, I would find one and walk one. So now I have one in the backyard, and that's like my walking meditation. And it kind of blends, like for you, I'm out in nature, I'm listening to the birds, I live in an area where the seasons change. And for me, there's something amazing to do that mindful meditation, walking the labyrinth. So that's one of my big ones. My next one is movement. I love yoga, but I also love dance. And like even one song and 3 minutes that I can either be slow, or like you said with Ram Dass, like I pick different musics, different day for different moods. Sometimes no words, sometimes the words are what I'm looking for. Sometimes it's a chant, and sometimes it's just a shake off whatever I've got to let go at this moment. That's kind of waiting on me and my shoulders. And I would say, I also have a practice of an attitude of gratitude, but I usually do 3 a day. So like, I went, oh my goodness, 100 a day. You've asked me to step that way up.
So fun.
That's a lot. And I'm going to add one more.
Yeah, go.
Dark chocolate. Like for me, I find so much pleasure in a piece of dark chocolate that like, no matter what the day is, I have to say in this whole quarantine, I feel like I can go forever on little foods and like scavenging what we have frozen in the back of the freezer. But the one thing that I go, oh, dark chocolate, will I be able to get that?
Yeah, no, it's so true. And really knowing those things and giving, and it's not indulgent, it's self-care, it's self-preservation, and it's self-knowing, which I think is an even deeper, like, that's why I love it. Like, I'm not going to prescribe my essentials for anybody because I don't know what you need or what your lifestyle is. But what my prescription is think of the things that are probably you're already doing that you can, like I saw somebody in the chat said like a long shower. Where did I see that? I saw.
Yeah. And let's read it because I love it.
Yeah, which you read it because I'm not.
Okay, so Sophia's here with us from Austria with one daughter who's 1 week old, you know, and she was with us this week too. So it's so great to see you. You're a single mom, and it's important to me to teach her self-coping mechanisms and healthy self-awareness and empathy. So important. I'll let Carrie talk to that in a minute, but your coping, which I love, are long showers, walks, and having my breakfast in front of the television.
Yeah. So that's it. It's like, and then somebody said, can essentials be kind of bad, like trashy TV? Honestly, Hannah, that's why I like people. That's why, I mean, I do workshops just around people writing and finding, that's my other one is writing, but finding their own, because it's not a good or bad. It's genuinely, if it adds energy and after the fact, you feel more connected to you feel more aligned, you feel more present, then it works. If it drains and it leaves you feeling a little bit, then maybe not. So this isn't about like, okay, I've got to get my list and this is it forever. This is going to be an organic unfolding. You're going to be I would love for you to just look around and think about like, what am I already doing that I might want to put a little frame around or a little star next to and go, oh, that's essential. That's not just a good thing for me to do. That's something that I need to fuel this system. And then if you're like, I have no idea, okay, great. You know, you could just say, what's something physical that I might want to do? It might be dance. It might be a Kundalini practice. I mean, there's so many, it might be walking, it might be running. Like I don't love running, but I walked 10 miles yesterday because that's what I love to do. That fuels me. So physical, emotional, which might even just simply be like sitting and patting your heart and just like, oh, I'm here with you. I'm going to listen. What are you feeling? Just a check it, like a real authentic check-in with no judgment. It could be something spiritual. It could be meditation. It could be prayer. It could be a mantra. You know, I have things popping up on my phone all day long that I want to stay aware of. You know, I'm healthy. I am free. I am like, give yourself support to feel like you're with you. I think that's really the bottom line of all this.
So wonderful. And love being in the sunshine.
Yeah. Nature, I eat it up. I love it. And really, I'm getting even okay with it. Even if it's not sunshine, the air, even if it's snowing or I mean, I'm in Colorado, so it's still snowing, but or rain, it's like bundle up, put on, like there's no bad weather, there's just bad clothing. So bundle up, stick that baby in your coat, bundle up and go for a walk and see, do I feel more regulated and present? Do I feel less? Like that's all you're doing is judging. Do I feel fuller? Do I feel drained? Do I feel, and really like I'm paying a lot of attention to this device because I'm noticing that when I go on and look at stuff and I'm scrolling, I don't feel good. So I'm really starting to pay a little more attention to, especially right now where not only do we not physically have the luxury to let our system go down, but emotionally, we need to stay regulated, because it's not going to serve anybody out there for us to be swirling in our own. I mean, there might be times where you're doing that, but learning how to grab the moment and go, okay, right now, are we safe? Do I have what I need? Like, again, it's like more than ever, this checking in and allowing a breath, like those first two steps seem vital, just vital.
Yeah, really important.
Yeah.
And Carrie, for everybody who's listening, where can they get your book? How can they learn more? Because I know I'm on your mailing list and I love your nuggets that you send out that inspire us. So where can people join you?
Yes. So go to my website, carriecontey.com, sign up for my email. I'm sort of sporadic. I'm still figuring out this moment. So you can go there and sign up. Instagram, I've been posting some little thoughts and some videos. I won't do one today because I'm doing this, but I'm trying to get some of these ideas out and give people more. And if you would like a CALMS book, I do have some with me. So email me. It's hello@carriecontey.com. And that's the best way to get in touch. And just reach out. I love hearing from people, and I got a lot of time right now. So I'm hanging out. I'm ready to see what people need. I'm not making any assumptions about what anybody needs. I'm really just staying available and open, that if people need a little check-in or a tune-up, or I'm probably going to do a writing clarity call in the next week, where people can get a little 1 hour just downtime and really pause, pull the car off the road, see where you are, and just decide, okay, how do I want to meet these moments? How do I want to, if we know we're not leaving the house much until May, how do I want April, both my self-care, my connection to my others in the house, my connections to my further out, and then the connection to the bigger world, you really giving some intention. It may not be you're dialing every second, but you're saying, oh, I want to be patient. I have 3 words for my year. One is I want to feel aligned with myself. I want to feel allowing of others, and I want to feel appreciative. So those are the words that I'm working with in my intentions as this year unfolds. And that came before this started happening, but they all feel relevant and valuable right now. So it's like, how do you want to feel? How do you get to choose? It doesn't feel like you do all the time, but the more you're paying attention to your essentials and the more you're fueling your system so that you can stay more human brain and more conscious, the more you start to realize, like, oh, okay, I when I don't pay attention to the news, I don't feel as scared. Okay, pay attention to that, right? Like,
right.
What helps you stay aligned? And that might look really different than your friends or the people in your house or the people that you are in contact with. But especially if you're parenting small children, you learning to stay more connected to yourself right now is essential for all of you.
Yeah, for all of us.
Yeah, for all of us, right.
Really, I mean, wherever you are in life right now, that your CALMS, your analogies of our inner circles, and that it's really important for all of us. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here with us today. And as the beginning of the kickoff for our whole week for our new launch for the Ultimate Guide to Sex After Baby, Secrets to Love and Intimacy. And Carrie's quoted in the book. We have her book as a resource, some beautiful words of wisdom that you shared with us in our book. So I so appreciate it, because the secret to finding more love and intimacy is with our connection, as you say, our check-in with ourselves first and going on. So for those in the chat, I'm giving you a link if you do buy our book on Amazon when it goes live on Thursday, and come back to our webpage. You might want to bookmark it now. We have all kinds of bonuses, over $100 of value that we're sharing with you. So I hope that you'll join us for other webinars all week. You can follow us on Instagram at Orgasmic Birth to sign up for them, or join our mailing list at orgasmicbirth.com, so you'll be the first to know. And Carrie, again, visit carriecontey.com, and hello, right?
Yes.
Carrie Contey.
Yeah. And I want to just, why not? We're playing. If you buy Deborah's book, shoot me an email and we'll do a little 15-20 minute chat. I got time. So that would be my bonus for this. Go buy the book, get you the book, read it. It's amazing. And then we'll do a little pick my brain. Just email me and we'll set up a time. It's easy and fun and we can be FaceTime or Skype or Zoom or whatever. So yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's an incredible bonus. And what an offer from everyone. Oh, and we have someone in
your community. This is great.
This is awesome. And look at all the countries we're seeing. Zena from Denmark. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, that's a big wow from me and from everyone. A great, great offer. So I thank all of you that have joined us here live. Those that are watching it later, please leave us your comments. Both Carrie and I will see them over there in YouTube. And we wish you all a really blessed day, and we'll see you soon.